On my blog I have a granny square series, and so far I have 2 different designs, and I'm going to be adding 2 more designs for April. Each one of these granny squares has its own YouTube video tutorial. So here are my granny squares that I have so far. On my blog I'm starting a granny square series. Right now I have 2 different styles, granny square styles, on my blog, www.helenmaycrochet.com. So I have the standard granny square and the YouTube video tutorial for that. And then the second one I made for St. Patrick's Day, so you have this style granny square. And now I have 2 more that I'm adding. This one where you can see where the center is actually off to the side, so I made that one. And then the other video tutorial is for the African granny square. So you can see the beautiful flower design, and you can add all kinds of different colors that you want for that one. So that one will have a separate video tutorial as well. So I think you can see that I'm making a granny square afghan out of all of these series. I'm going to be combining them all later. So that of course they're going to have different sizes, and I'm not sure what colors are going to go where or which granny squares are going to go in what area, but you'll be able to see after I'm finished with this granny square series. I also have some free downloads if you want examples of different color schemes. This is the one that I printed up to use as I go looking for yarns for my next granny square. This is the perfect project for any leftover yarn that you have. As you can see, I have a lot of leftover yarn that I gathered with different colors that I'm going to be using on video tutorial for the 2 granny squares I'm going to be showing. So each granny square is going to have its own separate YouTube video tutorial. For this granny square I'm using my 6mm crochet hook, as well as a pair of scissors and a tapestry needle or darning needle. So the yarn that I chose is my leftover yarn from I Love This Yarn. It's 97% acrylic with 3% metallic polyester. Here's some information about this yarn. The color is white and you can see the metallic glitter through it. I also chose I Love This Yarn. This one has a free pattern included. It's a cranberry color. And it's 100% acrylic. Here's some information about this yarn. This is a baby Pound of Love soft acrylic yarn. I also have a Pound of Love turquoise soft acrylic yarn. Then I have a Red Heart equivalent yarn. Then this is a pastel light purple color. Then I have my Red Heart Super Saver Jumbo coffee colored yarn. So the first thing you do is just get the yarn that you want for the center portion of the circle. Then you're going to take the yarn, fold it over on itself to form a loop, then take your crochet hook, go right through the center of the loop, hold the base of the loop with your middle finger and your thumb, then just yarn over, turn the hook upside down, and go through the loop for your slip knot. Go ahead and cinch that knot down, and then cinch the loop around the crochet hook. Now you're going to make a chain of 5. So just yarn over, turn the hook upside down, and go through the loop for 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Then you're going to make a slip stitch into the first chain that you made. Go into that first chain, and then you're just going to yarn over, and then pull the yarn through both of the loops for a slip stitch. And then you formed a ring. Then just take your crochet hook, you're going to go right into the center of the ring, go behind the loose yarn end, bring up a loop, make a single crochet, and then chain 2, 1, 2. That counts as your first double crochet into the center of the ring. And we're going to make a total of 16 double crochet into the center of the ring. So just yarn over. Let me go back there. Go into the center of the ring, bring up a loop, make a double crochet, and then you just completed your second double crochet into the ring. So yarn over, go into the center of the ring, behind the loose yarn end, bring up a loop, yarn over, turn the hook upside down, go through 2 of the loops, yarn over, turn the hook upside down, and go through the 2 remaining loops. And you just completed your third double crochet. I'm going to make one more with you. So go ahead, finish making 16 double crochet into the center of the ring, and then come back. After you finish a total of 16 double crochet into the center of the ring, you're going to go to that first double crochet that we made, and then you're going to go into the top stitch. So go into that top stitch of the first double crochet that we made, yarn over, turn the hook upside down, and bring the yarn through both loops on the hook. And then you just slip stitched into a ring. Now if you want a smaller center for your circle, you can start with a smaller ring if you want, and also you could probably pull on that loose yarn end to make it smaller as well. Now you're going to get your second color that you're going to be using in your design, and you're going to take your crochet hook and you're going to go into the space between the double crochets, and then just bring up a loop. Actually, you're yarning over and then bringing the yarn through the loop on your hook for a slip stitch, and then that will bring you into the space between the double crochets. And then you're going to join your new color Go ahead and get your second color, bring up a loop, turn your work over, and then cut the previous colored yarn, and then just tie a knot. Then you're going to chain 3, and then you're just going to drop the loose yarn ends for now. We'll bury those later. Then you're going to make 2 more double crochet into the same space. So just yarn over, go into the same space, bring up a loop, yarn over, turn the hook upside down and go through 2. Remaining 2 for a double crochet. Make 1 more double crochet into the same space. So I have 3 total double crochet into the same space between the previous rounds, 2 double crochet. Now you're going to chain 1, then you're going to skip the next 2 double crochet, and then make a double crochet into the space between the double crochets. And then you're going to make 3 double crochet into the same space. Then go ahead and chain 1. Then you're going to skip 2 more double crochet, go into the space between, and then you're going to repeat this all the way around, back to the beginning, and then come back. So you should have finished 8 sets around. Then we're going to make a slip stitch. After your chain 1, you're going to slip stitch into the top stitch of that first chain 3 that you made. So go into that top stitch, yarn over, and bring the yarn through both loops on the hook for a slip stitch. And then we're going to change colors. My next color is going to be the cranberry color. So go ahead. First let me see. We're going to go into the space that we want first for the next round. So we're going to want to slip stitch into the chain 1 space. So you just take your crochet hook, go into the next stitch, yarn over, and bring the yarn through both loops on the hook for a slip stitch. And you're going to slip stitch all the way to the chain 1 space. Then you can go ahead and change colors. So then you just bring your next color in, bring up a loop, go ahead and chain 1, then just take and turn your work and cut the previous color, and then tie a knot. So now you have your new color. Go ahead and just drop the loose yarn ends. We're going to bury those later. And then you're going to start with a chain of 3. 1, 2, 3. And then you're going to make 1 more double crochet into the same space. Then chain 2. And then 2 more double crochet into the same space. And then you're going to repeat that pattern all the way around in each of the chain 1 spaces. I'm going to make 1 more set with you. So in the next chain 1 space, I'm going to make 2 double crochet. And then 2 chains, and then 2 double crochet. And then you're just going to repeat that into each of the chain 1 spaces around. So here you can see I accidentally made it into the wrong space. You want to make sure it's in the chain 1 space. I'm going around my loose yarn ends. I had a flaw in the yarn, so I tied a knot, and that's just how I worked around the knot. So make sure that you fall into the chain 1 spaces around. This is how my work looks so far. You should have a total of 8 sets after finishing that round. Then you're just going to make a slip stitch into the top stitch of the first chain 3 that you made. Then you're going to slip stitch into the chain 2 space. So go ahead and slip stitch into that next stitch. And then you're going to go into the chain 2 space and make a slip stitch. Then you're going to change colors. So go ahead, change to your next color. Mine is the turquoise blue. So now you're going to go ahead and chain 3. 1, 2, 3. And we're going to make a total of 7 double crochet into this chain 2 space from the previous round. And I'm going to go ahead and work around my loose yarn ends. So 7 double crochet into that chain 2 space. So that counts as my second. The first chain 3 counts as 1. It's 4. So that's a total of 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So now you can go ahead and trim those loose yarn ends. So that time I had enough stitches to bury the loose yarn ends. I always try to bury them as much as possible. Then you're going to go to the next chain 2 space, and you can see the beautiful colors that are developing in this granny square. So now you're going to go into the next chain 2 space and then make 7 double crochet. And you're going to repeat this all the way around back to the beginning. 7 double crochet into each of the chain 2 spaces. So that's 5, 6, and 7. So go ahead, repeat that pattern all the way around back to the beginning. So now you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 sets around. You're going to go ahead and make a slip stitch into the top stitch of that first chain 3 that you made to join the round. Then you're going to get your new color, and I'm using my pastel purple, light purple. So I'm going to go ahead and cut my previous color and then tie a knot. Then you're just going to take and chain 1 and make 1 single crochet into each of the previous round's double crochet. And I'm going behind my loose yarn ends. Make sure you grab both of them. Bring up a loop and then make your single crochet. And you're just going to make 1 single crochet into each stitch. And I'm going behind my loose yarn ends. And then you're going to reach the space between the previous round's double crochet sets. So my loose yarn ends are already buried enough, so I'm going to go ahead and snip those, get those out of the way. Then you're just going to take And between each of the previous rows sets of double crochet, you're going to make a double crochet into the space right below the previous row. So 2 rows down, you're going to make a double crochet into that space between that row's set of double crochets. So just yarn over, go 2 rows down into that space, bring up a loop, make sure that your loop is even with the other 2 loops on your hook. So you're going to bring up a long loop, then just yarn over, turn the hook upside down and go through 2 of the loops, and then yarn over and go through the 2 remaining loops. And you just made a long double crochet. Then you're going to go into the next stitch, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So make sure you don't miss that first stitch and make your single crochet. And then you're just making 1 single crochet into each of the stitches until you get to the next space between the 2 sets of double crochet. And again, you're going to go down 2 rows into the space below the second row. Just yarn over, go into that space, bring up a loop, and then you're going to stretch that loop so that it's even with the row and the other 2 loops. Then just yarn over, turn the hook upside down and go through 2 of the loops. Then yarn over, turn the hook upside down and go through the 2 remaining loops. And you're going to repeat that pattern all the way around back to the beginning. So now you can see how I've already slip stitched to join the round. This is what my work looks like so far. Now you're going to go ahead and make a chain of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that counts as a treble crochet for the next round. Now you need 1 treble crochet into the next stitch, so you just yarn over twice, go into the next stitch over, bring up a loop, make your treble crochet, so yarn over, go through 2, 3 remaining, yarn over, go through 2, 2 remaining, yarn over and go through the last 2. Then you're going to make 1 double crochet into the next stitch. Then you're going to make 1 single crochet. Now you're going to make 1 single crochet into the next 4 stitches. And then make a double crochet into the same stitch. Yarn over, go into the same stitch, bring up a loop, make a double crochet. Then you're going to make 1 single crochet into the next 4 stitches. Then you're going to make a double crochet into the next stitch. And then 1 treble crochet into the next 2 stitches. And then that will bring you to the previous row's long double crochet. And then you're going to make a treble crochet into that stitch. Chain 3. Then treble crochet into the same stitch. And then this completed a corner stitch. So we're going to have 4 of them like this. Now you're going to make a treble crochet into the next 2 stitches. Then you're going to make a double crochet, and then you're going to make one single crochet into the next 4 stitches, and then that brings you to that long double crochet. You're going to make a double crochet into that stitch. So yarn over, go into that stitch, make a double crochet, and then repeat. So one single crochet into 4, and then we're headed to the next corner. So one single crochet into 4, then a double crochet, then one treble crochet into the next 2 stitches, then we're going to make our corner stitch. So you can see how here's a corner stitch, here's one of the sides, and now we're at a corner stitch. So I'm going to make a treble crochet into that long double crochet from the previous row, chain 3, treble crochet in the same stitch, then one treble crochet into 2 stitches. So we finished the corner. Now we're going to work on the side again. So that's one treble crochet into 2 stitches, then a double crochet, then one single crochet into 4 stitches, then a double crochet into that long double crochet from the previous row, then one single crochet into the next 4 stitches, then a double crochet, one treble crochet into 2 stitches, then that brings you to the corner stitch. And I'm just going to go ahead and just finish this round with you since we're almost back to the beginning. Chain 3, treble crochet into the same stitch, finished another corner. Now treble crochet into each of the next 2 stitches, double crochet into the next stitch, one single crochet into the next 4 stitches, double crochet into the next stitch, one single crochet into the next 4 stitches, double crochet into the next stitch, one treble crochet into the next 2 stitches, and then that brings us to our last corner. So one treble into the next stitch, chain 3, treble into the same stitch, finished my last corner, then slip stitch into that first chain 4 that you made for the round. And now we're ready for our last color, which I'm using my brown color. So now you can see that I've joined my brown color. I'm going to go ahead and chain 3. 1, 2, 3. That's going to count as a double crochet for this next row. So now you're just going to make 1 double crochet into each stitch, and I'm going to go behind my loose yarn ends, bring up a loop, make a double crochet, and you're going to make 1 double crochet into each stitch to your first corner and then come back. So 1 double crochet into each stitch to your first corner and then come back. Then I've reached my first corner. So in the corner you're going to make 2 double crochet into the corner space, then chain 2, then 2 double crochet into the same space. Then you're just going to resume 1 double crochet into every stitch to the next corner. So go ahead, finish this last round, and then come back. So after you finish that last round, you can go ahead and slip stitch to the top stitch of that first chain 3 that you made. Then go ahead and finish off. Just yarn over and pull enough yarn through to bury the loose yarn end into your work. And you have your gorgeous granny square. So quick and easy and so beautiful. So now you want to bury your loose yarn ends, and what I do is I just go through the same colored yarn on the back of your work and just kind of weave your loose yarn end in and out. You want to bury it really nicely because you don't want it coming loose on your blanket. So I just go back and forth a couple of times, and then once it's buried, I just take and cut the loose yarn ends. So go ahead, bury all of your loose yarn ends, and this is what the finished granny square looks like. I just want to show a close-up of the beautiful granny square. You can have fun with the colors to create different looks, different designs. And this is just a fun crochet pattern to make, and it's easy for beginners.